Hi, this is a demo of Waveform, which is an application that I built during my PhD. It's designed for exploring the extracellular datasets that I and other people in my lab produce on a fairly regular basis. The application was only ever really meant to be a prototype, but I kept adding stuff and tweaking it over several months, in fact over a couple of years, and it is now actually quite a useful tool that several people in the lab use. The easiest way to use it is to go to this URL, d1manson github.io/waveform, but you can also download the code and run it locally if you want. The first thing you'll see is this screen. If you click this button, you'll go to the GitHub where you can see the code, you can submit issues, and you can read the README. But we're going to get right on with the demo. So here's a bunch of files. If I use Control A, I can select all the files. This 164 files I have here. You can see that this guy and this guy are sort of 28 megabytes, so quite big files, other 11 megabytes down here. So let's drag them all in, and you'll see that they're immediately organized on the left here. So here I can switch between different trials. So here we're on this trial here, which is all of these files here. This is the additional trials. That's this trial here anyway. And we can switch between different tetrodes. You can see switching is very fast, and we can switch between different cut files for the same tetrode. And it loads both clue files and cut files. This area here I like to call the tile wall, and each of these things here is a tile which corresponds to a group on the tetrode. So you can see whenever I move my cursor over a group, the spikes are rendered on top of the path on the left here, and we can resize it to make that slightly bigger if we wish. If I pick up one group and drop it on top of another group, you can see that the display flips between the two groups, so you can compare them. If I release it, it wobbles back into place and nothing happened, but I can also drop it on top, and now I've merged the two groups together. If I show you this little pet guy here, you can see the actions that I've taken. So as I merge several groups, you can see that the list of actions is over there. The other thing I can do is I can split groups. So if I right click here, everything that's below this point stays on this side, and everything that's above the point stays on this side. I can move that around to change the point where I want to split things up. Let's put it here, for example, or here maybe. Okay, so you can see that. Now this is the thing we're working on at the moment. We can go back to the original point. Nothing's changed. We can go back to the one we're working on. We get our list of actions again, and as you might hope, you can undo all those actions to get you back to the start. A nice feature, I think, is if you hit D, you can see drift plots here, which are explained on the README. I won't go into details now. Another tool is when you've got your cursor over a group, if you press S, so you get the swap dialog. So let's swap number 5 with number 1. There we go, number 1 is up here and number 5 is down here. That's quite a helpful tool. Now let's try some cluster painting. So if I hold down F while my cursor is over a group, you can see down here that particular group becomes the from group. If I hold down Shift, I can select multiple from groups, and now when I paint over here, I'm going to paint from those groups into the destination group. I can also scroll with the mouse and change the size of my paintbrush. There we go. If I right click, let's make it smaller, and let's just go from this guy. Right, if I right click, I paint everything apart from the area. So let's do that again. Hopefully you can see that. Right, so far I haven't shown you any settings. The settings are hidden away with this button, or press escape. So some of the settings are simply the fact that you can, using Shift, you can change which of the plots are shown in each tile. So you can even change which channels are shown. and then most of the plots have their own settings. So for example, we can change the width of the temporal autocronogram. You can zoom in or whatever. Let's set it back to about 500. Okay, and the other important setting is the position post-processing. So you can read what it says here. For example, if I change the smoothing, you can see that the path is automatically updated here. You get much smoother results, and the rate maps are also updated, as are the direction plots. And I think if I toggle this, you might be able to see that the direction plots change as well. Okay. Another useful feature is if I hold down space and right click on one of the tiles, it jumps out. I can then drag it. So let's do that again with another tile. Let's take this guy. So I hold down space and I right click on this guy. Now I have, there's my mouse. Now I have two guys. I can now switch to a different trial and perhaps compare them and say, is this guy the same as that guy? Well, clearly not in this case, but maybe there is some ambiguity. In addition to doing that kind of grabbing, I can also put my cursor over a tile, use Control-C, and then if I switch to Google Drive, and this might work in Gmail and possibly some other applications, I can paste all the data, and these are just like nice simple figures that you can resize or delete as you need to. Right, another feature, if you press H, you get the header data, which is all here. Most of it's not very interesting. If you type something you want to filter by, for example, spikes, yeah, so you can see here the number of spikes. As we switch trials or switch tetrads, you can see that it updates itself very quickly. Okay, a final couple of things. Once you've done playing around with your cut file, you can just drag the cut file out. So I'm going to put it in here just to show you, and this is a standard cut file now. Another thing which is not something I use very often is you can change the palette by pressing P. Now each group is rendered in its own color, whereas here we're showing what I call the density of the waves at each point on the plot. And finally, just to sort of give you a sense of what this is capable of, if you zoom out in Chrome, the whole thing resizes like a normal web page, so you can actually see more waves on the screen. And this is actually a good reason to go out and buy a bigger screen, because the bigger the screen, the more you can see in one go, which is kind of nice. Okay, that was pretty much the end of the demo. I just want to show you very briefly, this is the page on GitHub with all the code on it. This is the explanation of how to use it. There's a little bit here about some features that you can only access via the console, keyboard shortcuts, and the rest you can probably ignore unless you really want to sort of dig into the details of how things work behind the scenes. I do hope you enjoyed this demo. If you do use the application, give me a shout. I'll be great to hear about your experience with it.